Welcome back to another MOTOBOB video, and now KTM this week just announced a new version of their 1290 Super Duke R. This one's called the EVO, and it takes what was an already epic bike and adds a couple of bits of extra spec that should make it even more of an awesome all-rounder. So in this video we'll go over all of the details and I'll tell you 6 things you need to know about it. But before we get started, a massive thanks to my channel sponsors, Beeline Moto. It's my favourite little navigation device that looks awesome on any bike. There's a link in the description to their product page as well as my full review. So this new EVO model, where exactly does it fit into the existing lineup? As the entry point, you've got the R at about 15.5 grand, and clearly the EVO sits above that bike with the extra features, but it's not quite as premium as the RR model that was announced earlier in the year. This one gets lighter wheels, carbon bodywork and an Akropovich exhaust, all combining to help shed 9 kilograms versus the R. They even say it's got a 1:1 power to weight ratio, that is if you're talking horsepower to kilograms of dry weight. But it's 20.5 grand, which is quite a price hike for the pleasure. The EVO should fit somewhere in the middle, with most of the spec being the same as the standard R. So it gets the 1301cc LC8 V-twin that makes 180 horsepower and 140 Nm of peak torque. There's the same trellis frame, most of the rest of the chassis, and the same Brembo style Lemma brakes. And you also get the comprehensive suite of electronics with a TFT dash, loads of modes and lean sensitive rider aids, cruise control, tire pressure monitoring, self-cancelling indicators and LED lighting all round. But where it does differ is with the suspension, with the regular mechanically adjustable WP Apex fork and shock making way for their electronic semi-active setup that you'll find something similar to on their Super Duke GT Naked Tourer and the Super Adventure S adventure bike. KTM say that the 1290 EVO retains its class-leading hyper naked ferocity but gains an even wider range of usability. This allows the beast to go from a comfortable rocket on poor road surfaces to a hardened track-ready apex splitting weapon at a simple click of a switch. So you get 3 damping modes of comfort, street and sport as standard, and you can switch between them with the buttons on the switchgear with your selection displayed on the TFT dash. Comfort of course backs off the damping, street is a bit of an all-round setting, while sport firms things up for a bit of a bias towards sharper handling rather than cruising comfort. Preload is also electronically adjustable with 10 2mm steps, giving 20mm of adjustment in total. Now on top of these standard features, there's also the option of their Suspension Pro package. This opens up 3 more modes, so Track, Advanced and Auto. Track provides the stiffest available setting, developed internally by KTM's test riders, which they say provides the ideal setting for track days and specifically for faster racetracks where you need additional support under hard braking. Advanced is essentially user configurable, so you can select one of 8 damping settings for the fork and shock. They say this one suits a more technical rider who might be looking for the smallest marginal gains and wants to fine-tune and tailor their suspension settings for their riding styles. And then there's Auto, which is basically their semi-active mode, and they say that this one is capable of detecting different riding styles and automatically adapting the suspension damping, being softer and more comfortable when cruising through the city and harder and more focused when riding aggressively on a fast mountain pass. This auto adjustment between modes happens almost instantly without any interference in the ride. Another interesting feature is the 3 levels of automatic preload. Essentially the bike selects preload on your behalf based upon how much sag it's detected, so that'll be determined by your weight or whether you've got a passenger or luggage or not. The benefit of it being automatic is that the bike's stance will always be perfectly set without the rider having to do anything. Now we've seen this on plenty of other bikes by now, especially Tourers, but what I like specifically about the KTM system is that you can choose from low, standard and high. So of course standard is neutral where the bike sits pretty much level, but low will automatically drop the shock a little, giving you a more sat up and easygoing geometry that also makes it easier to reach the floor at a stop. They say that high is an aggressive, agile track attack geometry with a more loaded front end, so essentially it gets the bike up on its nose. Look, I've tried their semi-active system on the Super Adventure S, and when I saw this feature I didn't really see the point so much. I guess you'd always expect to be fairly sat up on an adventure bike, but on a super naked like this, which you might want to take to work through the town in summer, so you go for that low setting, or you might be on a general weekend ride where you might have it in standard, or you might take it to the track and put it in the high setting to get that sharp handling. You know, having the ability to go between these different geometries so easily seems much more purposeful on the Super Duke, and in my opinion it's a pretty cool feature. There's a link to my Super Adventure S review in the description, as well as the standard Super Duke R, and look, they're both brilliant, and the EVO sort of combines the best of both with the performance of the Duke and a bit of the versatility of the Adventure. Yes, there's a 2kg weight gain because of the semi-active suspension, but with 180 horsepower on tap, I doubt many of us would notice, and it does add a lot of extra functionality. On top of all that, you get their quick turn throttle, which is also standard on the RR. KTM say that throttle response is given a further boost with the addition of a new quick turn throttle twist grip, reduced by 7 degrees to 65 degrees. KTM R&D developed this solution not only to offer a faster and more responsive throttle, but also to reduce the rider wrist angle as well as the elbow drop at full throttle. Paint is also updated with both the R and the EVO available in the existing blue and orange, but also a new silver and orange with orange wheels. Now, I say new, but it is similar to finishes they've used in the past, but it looked pretty good then, and it still looks pretty good now. It's not really a bike that you want to fly under the radar, and with the orange and silver and the orange wheels, it's anything but stealth. No UK price as of yet, I'm afraid, but I'd expect it somewhere in the middle of the 15 and 20 of the R and RR. Bikes will be in dealers from January, so it certainly looks like a tempting proposition, but what other options are there? The Ducati Street Fighter V4S with its Öhlins semi-active suspension is an obvious option, but it's a good deal more expensive than where I'd expect this bike to come in. The new Speed Triple RR is also due in dealers soon, and it gets the semi-active Öhlins, a similar power and spec to the Super Duke, and it's more in line with the pricing, as is the Aprilia Tuono V4 Factory, and of course there's the Kawasaki ZH2 SE. So look, it's a crowded market and the EVO will have to be good, but given what we know about the bike it's already based upon, it should make for a hell of a machine. As always, I'd love to know what you make of it down in the comments below, and which would be your pick of the Super Nakeds on the market at the moment. Let me know what you reckon, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.